The Independent Police Investigative Directorate, or IPID, is reportedly overwhelmed by a growing case backlog. Close to 14,000 cases from between 2023 and 24 have yet to be finalized. Most of the cases include allegations of assault and deaths resulting from police officers' actions. Let's unpack the story further with Lizzy Suping, who is the IPID spokesperson. Lizzy, thanks very much indeed for coming on. The numbers are quite staggering, aren't they? The case backlog carried over from 2023 to 2024, almost 14,000.
Good day, Michelle, and good day to the viewers at home. Yes, indeed, the backlog is quite high, but we have, as IPID, put strategies on how best we can deal with the backlog. But also the challenge we have when it comes to backlog, it's the number of investigators that we have in the country versus the number of police stations that we have and versus the land area in which we work. However, we have prioritized the backlog cases. We have put strategies in place as IPID in dealing with the backlog, because you look at the backlog and also together with the intake for the financial year 2023-24. But we have strategies in place to beef up our investigation capacity so that we can be able to deal with the backlog, but also strategies on how best we can deal with the backlog.
So with the backlog and new cases, IPID is currently managing over 19,000 active cases, and your organization has 167 investigators across the 9 provinces. That's quite the ratio, Lizzy.
Yeah, we are very low when it comes to number of investigators. But like I said, we are having strategies or putting strategies in place to beef up our investigation capacity. Because if you look at what we have now, on average, one investigator has to handle about 300 cases nationally. And therefore, we have strategies where one of them would be to repurpose those vacant positions from the support services. And working with the DPSA, we try and convert them to investigator positions. But we are also bringing in investigators who are not in service anymore, but they have investigation experience. We're bringing in them as well on a contract basis to assist us as IPID so that we can be able to deal with the backlog.
So part of this backlog, Lizzy, in 1 year, according to one news organization, the country's police officers allegedly committed 58 acts of rape while on duty. So when we talk about the backlog, of course, it includes a whole range of things, including assault, deaths resulting from the actions of some officers, and of course also rape. Does part of the backlog also stem from the DNA backlog that the country is dealing with as a whole when it comes to cases like rape?
Yes, some of the factors that have an impact in us concluding some of our cases or like the backlog being high is information that we need to get through the laboratories. For example, the DNA, if it's a rape, but also if there was a discharge of an official firearm, we need to get the ballistics report. So those type of factors do have an impact in us concluding our cases timelessly.
It's ironic, right, that just this week on Monday we had National Police Day, with the Police Minister, Senzo Mchunu, singing the praises of the officers he's in charge of. And perhaps it's an important distinction to make, Lizzy, that for the most part, our officers are committed to their jobs. But for the public, you know, what would be the message that you'd want to send? Just given the numbers in front of us, you know, 58 cases of alleged rape by the country's police officers, almost 19,000 cases of various other charges, including assault and even death.
I think we need to realize that not all men and women in blue are bad officers. A lot of them do uphold the law, but there are those few who take the law into their own hands. And those are the officers that we as IPID have to investigate and ensure that we root out acts of criminality. Yes, if you look at the numbers are very high, but we also need to acknowledge those officers who are upholding the law. And from our side as IPID, in terms of those officers who break the law, we have to conduct those impartial investigations so that then we can be able to empower the NPA to be able to make a decision to prosecute or not. But also on the other hand, we have to send recommendations to SAPS, which is the employer, to say, please act against your member if there is a case to answer.
In the meantime, these officers who face incredibly serious charges are still working as men and women in blue, Lizzy?
What needs to happen from our side is we do make recommendations to SAPS to say, please act against your members. And within 30 days of them receiving the recommendations from IPID, they need to initiate disciplinary process. The public also need to understand that IPID does not sit in the disciplinary process of SAPS. It's a matter between employer and employee. And once they've concluded the process, they need to give us feedback to say what was the sanction. And as IPID, if we are not happy, we do engage with them about the type of sanctions, because sometimes we feel that the sanction does not really address the transgression that was committed by an officer.
So
but
IPID,
we do engage something.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there, Lizzy. IPID is the police watchdog, right? With a case
Yes.
load, first of all, with a backlog of almost 14,000, with a current case load of over 19,000, is IPID doing the job of a watchdog? Are you succeeding as an organization with these numbers?
We are doing our work as the watchdog of the police. And that is why I said whenever there is a case to answer, if it's a criminal case, we have to refer the docket to the NPA for a decision to prosecute. Because as IPID, we need to conduct impartial investigation so that we can empower the prosecution to be able to make that decision. On the other hand, we do send or make recommendations to SAPS where there is a case to answer, to say, as SAPS as the employer, please act against your member, against this transgression that has been investigated by IPID.
All right, so 14,000 cases from 2023 to 24 have not been attended to. What's the goal for IPID for 2025 and I suppose going into the following year?
Like I said earlier on, we have strategies that have been put in place to try and beef up our investigation capacity so that we can be able to conclude these cases. We are repurposing those vacant positions in support services so that they can be converted to investigator positions, but we are working with the DPSA on that matter. On the other hand, we are bringing in retired investigators to assist us to deal with issues of the backlog. And we also have appointed quality assurers. Both retired investigators as well as quality assurers are appointed on a contract basis because we need to be able to conclude these cases, the investigation of these cases, so that then we can reduce our backlog.
Yeah, let's hope so that IPID can actually be a watchdog organization as it's meant to be. Lizzy Suping is the spokesperson for IPID.